Hi there, this is the story of StoneCo, ticker symbol STNE. Right now the market cap is about 4.6 billion and the price $17 per share. Has increased quite a lot this year. And the most important question is whether StoneCo with the current market cap is a great buy. And the answer, you will find it in this box. During this video, open the box and you'll find the answer, my answer. Now, to understand this answer, you have to look at their business, see how they make money and what's next. You have to predict their future so you can make a profit, right? If you look at the revenue over the last 3 years and more recently first half of 2025, yes, the revenue has increased from 1.7 billion to 2.3, then a small decline to 2 billion and then a rebound. As you can see, for the first half of 2025, the revenue has rebounded. The growth in the revenue has rebounded to 1.2 billion. So for the full year, the revenue will be higher than 2 billion, 2.4 billion. It also depends on their businesses. And if you look at their earnings, 2022 a loss, 23 a profit of 300 million, 24 a loss. And surprise, for the first half, they succeeded to report a profit of over 200 million. And because of this, the price has increased quite a lot. Now, if you look at the balance sheet, they don't have a lot of cash, just 1 billion, and debt 850 million. So if you subtract debt from the cash, just a small amount. Now, the most important thing about this company, you have to know that the price over the last 5 years has been up and down, because if you look at the earnings, down, up again, down, up again. And of course, from its highest peak, the price was even higher. Now, you have to look at their business, the most important segments, and the most important indicators to understand their future. So they have payments, banking, and credit. For payments, you have to look at total payment value. Year over year, a growth rate over 10%. As long as you see this growth rate over 10%, this segment will do well. It's likely to increase more in the future. As Brazil is an emerging market, by the way, this company StoneCo is from Brazil, I expect that the total payment volume will continue to grow more in the future. Now, the growth rate here may be lower or high, depending on the economy. Then banking, they started to offer banking. And here, an important indicator is retail deposits, because based on these deposits, they can offer credit and other services. And this has increased over 46% year over year. So this is a plus, quite a plus. And as long as they continue to compete well, attract more people to their bank, this segment will increase more in the future. And finally, their segment credit. Here we have to be careful, because this segment, they had it in the past, caused a lot of troubles for them, because they had to report huge losses. Here their portfolio, their debtor portfolio, what they lend, has increased over 154%. This is good, but an even important indicator is the loss ratio. How many losses do they have on this portfolio? For instance, year over year, the loss has improved from a loss from 8% to only 6% of the total amount of their portfolio. And this is a plus, quite a plus. The lower the better. If you see an increase in their loss ratio, that would be bad, because they have to report a loss. And when they report a loss, they will include it in their earnings, and their final earnings will be with minus. And when that happens, the stock price goes down. So we have to be very careful with this segment, because in the past, it caused the stock price to decline more than 50%. Here we have to be very careful. So credit plus banking. because they are connected. They take retail deposits and lend to people. And of course, they also have some software. They want to get rid of some of their businesses they plan to sell. But the most important at the end are their earnings. Payments to go up and banking to do well. These are their future segments, payments and banking. As you can see, they started to switch to banking more recently because payments already a mature market, but still they are going quite fast. Over 10%, that's great. But there is also competition. Same for banking. They compete with other players. Now, at the current market cap and price, StoneCo, yes, can deliver a good return. As long as payment volume goes up and they attract more deposits to their bank. The problem that I see, yes, you don't want to hope just this will go up and up. You also have to think at the risk, right? And the problem I see is competition. Competition in the long term. In the short term, yes, you might have some losses from credit, something like this, bad economy to decrease this growth rate for total payment volume. But the long term problem I see, the long term risk is competition. Because if you look at the payment industry in Brazil, you'll see more players there. StoneCo, for instance, PagSeguro, Mercado Libre, even if that company is from Uruguay, they also compete, and other traditional banks that offer payment solutions. So here you have to be careful with competition because the more players you have, they will try to gain more market share. And how will they do that? Well, to lower their fees. So lower fees, right? And when they do that, they will put pressure on their earnings from the payment segment. And that will be quite bad. And if you don't understand, if you can predict who has an advantage, what's their advantages, it's hard. It's hard to predict the future for payments. That's why you have to know when to invest and when to get out of this company. Banking, same thing. Here, competition, in my view, is even higher. But yes, here they all have a lot of competitors. But the most important thing is how they can handle their loss ratio. You can have 1,000 players in this field. The important thing is how they handle this loss ratio. This is the key for banking. And there are some people that can do it, that don't take high risk, low risks, and they're likely to make money. I hope they learn their lessons from their past when they failed with this credit portfolio and they had to report huge losses. And maybe they'll do well in the future. And if that happens, also your investment will go up. Now, in my view, it's quite tough to predict what will happen next with StoneCo. For sure the company will survive and they will continue to grow, in my view. Payments and banking, for sure they will continue to grow. The problem is that I don't know, and if there is somebody that tells you that they know the answer, they are lying. The problem is with StoneCo is their growth rate. How much will they grow? Ask that question. How much? Because based on that growth rate, if you have a growth rate of 5%, 10%, or 20%, based on this growth rate, your investment will behave differently. If they have only 5%, then your return will be average. 10%, your return much better. 20%, this you have to know when to buy to get a return about 20% for your investment. That's why if you watch my past videos about StoneCo, there was a time when StoneCo was quite cheap, undervalued. And I said during that time that it's a buy. And guess what happened with the stock price? An increase over 90%. Of course, I hadn't invested in StoneCo back then because I had better investment ideas in my portfolio. Titan Investor. Just go there and check it. Go to my profile, press join and choose Titan Investor. And there you see my portfolio. And I have a better, far better company than StoneCo. And my return is over 90%. And by the way, in just 1 year and a half. That's amazing. Now, to show you the answer about StoneCo, whether it's a great investment right now, in my view, StoneCo right now, with the current market cap of 4.6 billion, is not a great investment. I mean, to have a return around like this, between 10 and 20%. If you are pleased with a return between 5 and 10%, then StoneCo may be a buy for you because they're also doing some buybacks. So especially if you bought in the past, it's a good hold. They're doing buybacks. They're planning to sell some software businesses and focus on these two main businesses, payments and banking. And they may do well in the future, but be aware of their loss ratio, especially credit, because this segment may put pressure on their final earnings. Now, if you want better investment ideas than StoneCo, as I said, simply go to my profile, press join and choose Titan Investor, and there you will see my portfolio. All my investments are up. And besides that, we'll also get an investing course, other in-depth analysis, and access to the previous levels, Spartan and Gladiator. But the best value for you is my portfolio. When I make a transaction, I'll make a new video only for you, and you will know what great company I invest in. Now, there are some people that prefer StoneCo because maybe they live in Brazil or they like this company. And if you were to force me, give me $1 million and tell me, John, you're only allowed to invest in StoneCo and make a profit, what price would you pay? And the answer to that question will be available for members. And to be fair for you, for Spartan members, where the price is lower. Of course, if you join Titan, you also have access to Spartan and also the other videos. So see you there.